Hi, my name is Mark T.J Keane from Sleeping Serpent, and we have to talk about the Telepathy Tapes. Now, I have been a wizard since birth. I've always known that I am a wizard in this lifetime, which means I am in touch with my magical being and the true magical fabric of this earth and the universe in general. So this content in the Telepathy Tapes comes as no surprise to me in terms of I know this is true, but to see it so clearly revealed and to have it so well received widely across the globe over the last few months is so rewarding. It's such a good sign that we are finally leaving the dark times of the Kali Yuga, right? The dark age is over. We are coming into the light. The Telepathy Tapes, if you don't know, is a podcast that you can find on the telepathytapes.com. You can find it on Spotify, made by a beautiful lady named Ky Dickens. And she discovered that these children all around the world that have been labeled as autistic, who are non-speaking, they can't speak verbally, have a form of apraxia, which means they have a mind-body disconnect. So because they're not able to communicate verbally, and they seem to have no control consistently over their physical body, they were seen to be not very present, not very intelligent, not having much to offer. But it turns out nothing could be further from the truth. Not only are they in there, not only are they intelligent, but they are truly remarkable beyond measure. It turns out that every single one of these children all around the world that have this apraxia and are non-speaking are tapping in to the greater spiritual dimension. And from that plane of existence, that primary realm of consciousness, they are able to communicate and with each other. So when you test these children to varying degrees, they show that they are telepathic because they are always in that spiritual realm where you see thoughts and you feel everything. So they are so much more plugged in than we are into the greater reality. They feel everything. They see it, all these thoughts. They're able to see spirits, talk to angels. I mean, it's just truly remarkable. Ky Dickens takes you on a journey. It starts with a lot of skepticism. She works with these children, testing them for the telepathy in the traditional way, where you'll be given a card randomly generated, and then the mother often will be thinking of that image, and then the child will, with practice, learn to control his or her body in a way that he can spell out the word. And that's how the communication is happening. Now, this is very difficult for the child, but with practice, they can learn to consistently spell and therefore finally communicate with the world. So why weren't we listening to these children before? So it turns out that they are very telepathic. Now, I have a history in telepathy, obviously, because I'm a wizard. I created a course called How to Be Your Own Wizard or Witch, actually. And in that course, we go over telepathy. Every day I practice my telepathy on this app where you have a color that you have to discern from 4 others. That is the correct one. Okay. And when I'm tired and grouchy in the morning, I find that my telepathy is not very good. It's just down to chance. But when I'm really switched on and my Kundalini is rising, which is what I'm all about, and I feel really plugged in, then I'm going way above chance. I'm getting it right like 60% of the time, 70% of the time, not just 25% of the time, right? And whilst I was in the University of Hertfordshire, I actually studied with Richard Wiseman, a leading parapsychologist, and we did these tests with telepathy and found, results much more than chance. But these kids, these kids are always right. Like 100% of the time, pretty much. The only time when they won't be 100% is when, they'll be trying to reach that letter and they'll just hit the one next to it, but you can see that they're trying to spell, let's say, bat, but they'll, rather than going B-A-T, they'll go B-S-T, So this is extraordinary. They write all the time because they see these thoughts. As soon as you think it, they know it. They know it. They know it. It's extraordinary. So Ky Dickens takes you on this journey where you meet these certain children and they'll have this bond with a mother. And then some of them are able to have this bond with, let's say, certain other people, the father as well. But then you sort of meet these children that they're telepathic with everyone. And then you learn that these children are communicating with each other. And all around the world, they're going to this kind of spiritual chat room, which they call the Hill. And on the Hill, they converge and communicate with each other. And that's just an extraordinary thing. Now, I have a memory of this when I was a child. I used to go to my bedroom at night and I used to rock my spine and I used to focus in on my third eye and I used to find that this light would return to illuminate my mind, and then I would rock my spine in a way that the energy would go into this light and open up this dimension, and then I would go traveling. Now, I'm talking about when I was very, very young, and the more that I got older, that started to get interested in girls and homework and all these distractions in the world, I gradually lost that ability. And I've spent the rest of my life over the last 20 years since my spiritual awakening in 2003 to try and really get back to where I was as a very young child. So I appreciate that there is something about children, that they're just freshly formed out of the ether, right? They're still very much in their spiritual body. But these particular children with apraxia, non-speaking, are so much more in that other dimension that they have trouble being down here in the physical dimension. It's very difficult for them in order to physically interact with their physical body and spell out this word to communicate what they can see ever so clearly. They have to lower their brainwave to around about the alpha state. Whereas if we're getting up to the alpha state, it's like happy days, So they're on a much higher frequency. Their brainwaves are operating on much higher frequencies all of the time. And that's why they're always telepathic. They don't have to raise their vibration to be telepathic. They are naturally in that frequency of telepathy, and they have to lower their vibration in order to communicate to us here in the physical dimension. That is what makes them so extraordinary. So they are very much like shamans, like wizards, like witches, right, of old, that we find in every tradition across all the ages, across all the world. The time of the magic is returning. It's time to bring back the wizards and the witches and the shamans and the shamanesses. It's time, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so excited that we're entering this new age, and this telepathy tapes and the talk tracks that follow it are just confirmation that now we really have to reclaim our spiritual heritage, to tap into that spiritual dimension, to start listening to the people who have died and come back, that have had a near-death experience, to start listening to these children who are always plugged into the spiritual dimension, and know that as human beings, right, we are spiritual beings, have a human experience, right? Spiritual beings have a human experience. We are so much more capable than what we have been told, than what academia would tell you, than what science would have you believe. Our ancestors have always known this. We have a very deep and rich magical heritage, and we need to come and reclaim that now that we are in this new age, not only of Aquarius, but of the age that follows the Kali Yuga, the Dwapara Yuga, right? This is beautiful. We're on our way up. This is fantastic news. So I'm so happy to bring you the revelations from the Telepathy Tapes. I really encourage you to go out and listen to every single one of those tapes and to really take it inside and understand what that means for humanity going forward as a species that is capable of extraordinary telepathy and all that comes from the other world. This is important and is happening at the same time in which AI, artificial intelligence, is being accelerated, right? Let's not forget, I know about AI. I study philosophy and psychology in the University of Hertfordshire, and I actually did my thesis in artificial intelligence in 1994, I think, before the dawn of the internet, right? Before the internet became public, I was already thinking and writing about artificial intelligence. So I saw this coming, but I think I was a seer in this way because I also knew that as much as artificial intelligence is going to be pushed and virtual reality is going to be pushed and augmented reality is going to be pushed and technology and smart technology is going to be pushed, we need to realize that there is nothing that can be replicated through technology that we can't already do innately, right? There's nothing new under the light of the sun. All technology can do is offer a poor reflection of what we already can do as innate, spiritual, eternal beings with pretty much no limitations other than the limitations we decide to take on ourselves as an immortal soul, deciding to having this human experience of limitation, of separation, of experiencing the lower vibrations, so that when we return home to the other side, where these children already are, right, that we will really understand how beautiful the spiritual dimension really is, how wonderful and magical our home really is, and that we really are. So that's why we come here. So it's extraordinary news, and thanks very much for watching this video, and I hope you check out my course, How to Be Your Own Wizard or Witch. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.